Hi there. I have a message here. I'm starting to talk with this message and I don't know what it says because I have to put oh, it's going away. Good. Well, hi. I'm Patricia Shanks and this is Studio Shanks Sundays live at 5 here on YouTube at youtube.com/Patricia Shanks Voice. And you can also find me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Patricia Shanks Music. On Twitter, I'm Studio Shanks. I'm also on Instagram at Patricia_Shanks and maybe a few other places, but those are the main ones. You can find my website for voice teaching at studioshanks.com. I teach voice for the Young Americans College, and I also teach voice for in two locations. I teach in Anaheim Hills at Neil Music Instruction, and I teach in Laguna Hills in Laguna Hills at Laguna Hills Music. The ins and the ats and the prepositions and the connectors and the conjunctions and things. Okay, they're just too many words sometimes, especially coming from my mouth. Anyway, today I'm going to talk, hopefully briefly, a little bit about the difference between vocal warm-ups and vocal exercises or technical exercises. Those two things seem to be lumped together these days into one big warm-up, which really doesn't constitute a warm-up as I'm seeing it and hearing it in singers these days. Things change a lot, and over time, I'm all generations say, oh, it's nothing like what it used to be. Things aren't what they used to be. Everything's falling apart. The golden age of singing is gone. And, a lot of that is actually true. So when I'm talking about vocal warm-ups and technical exercises and the things that I talk about pertaining to voice, I am talking about elite voice production. And when I mean elite voice production, I'm talking about a way of producing the voice that is resonant, free of affectation, that actually exhibits the inner soul of the performer, the personality of the performer, and isn't a carbon copy or some sort of a cosmetically applied approach to singing, which those things can be very entertaining, but there is a difference. And I think when we hear, which we don't all too often, hear the very elite singers in performance, most of us, I would like to think, can recognize the difference in the sound production and can appreciate the level of skill and expertise the person is showing. So, vocal warm-ups and vocal technical exercises. Well, I'm forever frustrated, especially when those young people, come in to work with me and in my private teaching, and they because they've been watching things on YouTube, because they've been talking with their peers, whatever the other influences are, they think they know what a warm-up is, and they don't have a sense of technical exercises and why they should do them. And so I try my best hopefully without annoying and giving them too much trouble. I try to explain the difference in little short spurts and show them and help them understand why they're doing the different things that they do. Now, what I want to do before I launch into vocal technical exercises, and gee, don't you hate these YouTubes where people go na 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 and they never get to the point? I know I certainly do. Well, I think this is important to describe what I'm talking about maybe in more physical terms, because the voice is such an internal instrument. It's so hard to understand how it works. You can't put your hands on it. It's not like you can pick up a trumpet or play the piano and have a physical connection to it, even though you do have a very physical connection to your voice. So let me talk about warming up and technical exercises in terms of ballet. Okay. Now there are all kinds of dancing, and I think that ballet is the very elite form of dancing, and I feel that most people who have a reasonable amount of skill at ballet are better dancers at whatever kind of dancing they do. And I see that parallel with singing as well. I think, and let me go further aside for a moment, I often use an example of ice skaters. And everybody can get out there, not everybody, I certainly can't, I hold onto the wall, but people can get out there on the ice and spin and jump and with very little training. They can watch, they can copy, they can do these things. But when you see somebody who has the muscle strength, who has worked on the different elements, the different pieces of a skating program, and they go out there and execute the same moves, the same jumps, the same turns and spins and things, you go, oh, that's a little different. And now I'm getting messages in front of my face again. Oh, it's because I've enabled chat. So anyway, you see the same moves, but one person is highly skilled and the other person is having a good time and can do the moves, and they also might hurt themselves because they don't know what they're doing. So that's what I feel is important to know about singing as well. You need to have some technical expertise so that you don't hurt yourself, so that you can always know what you're doing, so that it can be consistent, so that your work can be consistent. And so getting back to my ballet example, in ballet there are warm-ups, as in other things that other physical things that dancers do. They might get at the bar and they might do some stretches, or you see them on the floor, first of all, stretching, holding a foot and stretching the muscles out and preparing for the dancing they're about to do. Then after they do the stretches and, move around a little bit and wake the body up, they might go to the bar and do some pliés or some of those other things that I really don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not much of a dancer. I did a little salsa once and that was about the end of it. So, but you see that they go through the sequence, and then even beyond that, there's sort of another level where they're going through regular exercises. I did try this one time. I did learn to spot, and I managed to not fall over and hurt myself. So I did manage to learn to spin and spot, and I'm glad there's no video of that. But anyway, you go through maybe exercises where you're turning and it's trying to stay in rhythm with the music, where you're doing a series of jumps or jetés across the floor to make sure that your form is right, and so there are these levels, these sequences of events that dancers do. And then when they're performing a program or practicing on a program, then all of those various elements of dips and jumps and leaps and things go into this finished product, because the finished product is a compilation of all of those different elements. Okay, so to voice. Warming up the voice. Warm-ups, much like some easy, comfortable stretches, should be easy, comfortable sounds that you make, and also some breathing exercises and checking your posture and doing these things that just sort of ready you for technical exercises, which are another thing. Okay, warm-ups might consist of light humming, and there's a way to do it. Okay, there's a way to stretch if you're an athlete so that you don't hurt yourself, and to stretch effectively. There are ways to hum, and sometimes I repeat myself because some of these things come up so often. Humming, it seems to be a little bit difficult for people. You would think just humming would be easy, but people tend to hum with their tongue up against the soft palate and closing off the nasal port. And so we get this kind of a sound. If you can hum with your lips parted, then you're not humming correctly. Who knew that there was an art to humming? And if you're not humming correctly, then you're not leading yourself to the next stages of the technical exercises. So even these little warm-ups, you have to learn how to do them properly. So we have humming as a warm-up, light humming, some siren noises, some like, whee, Now that wasn't a very good one. I'm still getting over my cold from last from last week, but wee, it's falling out of resonance. But there are sirens, and some breathing exercises that amount to little staccato exercises to balance the voice. Some of these things might be warm-ups. Now, excuse me, now I've got my nose going crazy. Some of the technical exercises can also cross over into warm-up, and some of the warm-ups can cross over into technical exercises. Two exercises that come up all the time that I hear people using as warm-ups are, especially one is something like Mama made me mash my M&Ms, or Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. And there's also kind of a convoluted sense of what that exercise is for. And people will say it's for diction. Yes, it's for diction, but it's not about moving the mouth like that. It's not about making big mouth gestures at all, but it's about finding tonal focus, which is why it has all that sequence of M's in there, like in humming. Mummy made me mash my M&Ms, and you have to keep it all in this mask area. And excuse me. And so then beyond that, with that exercise, you have the M is supposed to be chased by vowels that are in the same area, which is another thing, because that means other things have to be positioned properly. The tongue position has to be right. Mummy has to be in a sort of a comfortable propped position behind your bottom teeth. Otherwise, you'll be saying, for instance, an E back here, and that's not correct. E is the most forward tongue position, and the most forward vowel. So that the M, the hum, which has to be fed by breath. See, this is tricky. This is not just about going, Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. That means nothing. You're not reinforcing anything. You're not doing anything to help yourself with your singing if you're just going through the motions and doing this exercise without knowing why and without trying to do it the correct way. Okay, so we have you have to use the breath. You have to feel that tongue position and the hum of the tone in the mask area somewhere. That's one little exercise. Okay, another one that children often do, that's given as a children's exercise, but it's actually quite a good exercise, and can be used as a warm-up, but has elements of technique incorporated in it, is bumblebee. Okay, and I don't care what the patterns are on these. That's often the pattern, or something like it. But the thing is, you have to know what you're doing with it. Okay, children won't. We can give it to them, but should we not maybe, depending on their age, help them understand what it is they should be feeling, how it should actually work? Why should we give them and just have them saying bumblebee, and not knowing why they're doing it? That doesn't make sense to me. So if the child is old enough to understand and has some kind of patience, then it should be explained to them that the B and P are two sounds that, assuming you have breath behind it and the sense of open space behind your breath, B and P are supposed to put all the activity at lip level and take pressure off your throat. Bum, and there's your M, right? Tongue is forward, so the isn't swallowed, the Bumble is another hummy buzzy sound. Bumblebee, and E is very forward. So if you're doing that and you're transcending this whole range of notes, but keeping your voice focused in the right place and using those consonants and vowels properly and your breath properly, then you're doing something significant with that exercise. And yes, it can be a warm-up or a technical exercise. Now, technical exercises, again, those are just like in dance. Those are the elements of your finished program. Technical exercises involve a combination of different intervals, musical intervals, different combinations of vowels and consonants, different lengths, certain different lengths of the exercise, certain things. Like one of the other things that I like to teach, because a lot of these things I discovered along the way. And I had to, early on, I had many, many teachers. And my first teacher was a lovely lady who used some of the really correct materials, but I feel, now as a young person, but I feel that she didn't really explain to me or help me get the most out of the work that we did. It was very pre-programmed. I did 20 minutes of exercises right out of the gate, just went straight through them without stopping and going. If your teacher is not stopping and going and helping you adjust, like fine-tuning a violin, then I think something's missing. You shouldn't just be marching through the exercises willy-nilly and not, you know, you're standing there going, well, am I getting better? I guess I'm getting better. This is what I did for years with lessons. I'm doing the exercises faithfully, religiously. I must be improving. No, not necessarily. You have to sort of have a sense of what you're doing with the exercises. So, anyway, this is what my early experience was, and now I've totally thrown myself off base. But the combinations of intervals and consonants and vowels, and these are the chat. I love the chat. Somebody's watching. Thank you. But now I'm totally thrown off again. And these things, by the way, these talks are not pre-programmed. I do not like these presentational videos. I'm just speaking from the heart, telling you what I have learned over several decades, many decades of teaching and working with different singers, and my own ongoing search for information. And I feel like this is really necessary because I just see so much of, I want singers to know. I want singers to know what they're doing. So anyway, the combination of vowels and consonants, and I've totally twice thrown myself off the track. So I'm somewhere on a track going to I don't know where. But technical exercises. See, this is the beauty of live. Maybe I should haul my stuffed animal back in here. Over there, Stefan is watching from the distance. We have to have the Stefan fan club. Anyway, technical exercises and singers, and I was making some sort of a point, and I'll have to go back later and maybe I'll make a little annotation to this video. But at any rate, see if I can find my way back on without having too much dead air here. Technique and knowing what we're doing, and well, there you have it. I think I was getting to a really important point, but which was probably about time that I do that. So anyway, I really don't know. Technique. So I probably, how long have I been talking anyway? I probably should stop at this point. And maybe I'll come back in next week and pick up where I left off and tell you what I was about to do. But anyway, the technical exercises, you have to have a sense of what you're doing in order for you to improve with them. And these are the elements of your finished songs and your finished performance. And so I hope there's something there. I don't think there was a lot in this presentation, but maybe some other people feel that they're not getting out there the information that they need. And I think better than my little talks, I'm very good working with people one-on-one. I sort of have an intuitive sense when I hear a singer, probably more intuition than anything else, because I really pay attention. And some of my students have worked with me. I know one student used to come back for his lesson, and he just came for the entertainment value because I would know what he was going to do before he did it, and was able to help him make corrections. But it's kind of funny because I'm just a person who pays close attention. So anyway, that's today's little chat on the difference. Maybe there's some information in there. The difference between warm-ups and technical exercises. There is a huge difference, and you need to do both. Oh, also, when you're through with your warm-up and technique session, you need to do a warm down, just like athletes do. If you've been singing in a very high or at length, you need to do some things to relax that little instrument in there and take good care of it and keep it in good shape. So anyway, that's today's little chat. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any comments, I, I would love to hear them. Be nice. And if you would like to subscribe, that would be terrific. If you can follow me on Facebook or wherever, let's see, the rules are follow, subscribe, or something else. So whatever it is that the prescription is, please do and say hello. And I thank you very much for watching. Oh.